Hello, St. Francis and St. John. I'm Deacon Mike Lynch with Good Shepherd Parish. This week we prepare for the 24th Sunday in Ordinary Time. A reading from the Gospel according to Mark. Jesus and his disciples set out for the villages of Caesarea Philippi. Along the way, he asked his disciples, "Who do people say that I am?" They said in reply, "John the Baptist, others Elijah, still others one of the prophets." And he asked them, "But who do you say that I am?" Peter said to him in reply, "You are the Christ." Then he warned them not to tell anyone about him. He began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer greatly and be rejected by the elders, the chief priests, and the scribes, and be killed and rise after 3 days. He spoke this openly. Then Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. At this he turned around and looked at his disciples, rebuking Peter, and said, "Get behind me, Satan. You are thinking not as God does, but as human beings do." He summoned the crowd with his disciples and said to them, "Whoever wishes to come after me must deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. For whoever wishes to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake and that of the gospel will save it." When you think about what Jesus is saying to his followers and apostles in this passage from the Gospel of Mark, you can probably understand why they, and plenty of people in our day, could have trouble grasping just who Jesus really is, and why he's saying that he must suffer, die, and then rise from the dead. Even Peter, who had just called Jesus the Christ, rebukes Jesus for saying that he must suffer and die. But Jesus doesn't make anything easier for Peter and the others when he says to be his disciples, they must deny themselves, take up their cross, an instrument of torture in their day, and follow him. When bringing people into the church through the OCIA, we try to instill them, particularly those who have no prior religious instruction, we instill in them a sense of the incarnation. That is, how God became a human being and took on everything about human nature except sinfulness to be our Savior. That means he was willing to experience human suffering too. Now, why would God do this? Why would he be willing to be born a poor, unknown child? Why would he submit to a baptism by John the Baptist when he clearly didn't need it? Why would God let himself suffer? All human beings suffer. Why we suffer is a great mystery. But to show his people how much he cares for us and wants to walk with us in this life, with all of its joys and sorrows, with its pleasure and pain, Jesus is willing to take it all on himself. He made sorrow and suffering redemptive, and our sorrows and sufferings can be redemptive too. And we begin to realize that taking up a cross as he did, accepting discomforts and suffering in this life as he did, and even losing the lives we might want to live here on earth for his sake, will make us his followers, not only just in this life, but in the next life as well. Here are some family activities to consider in light of this gospel. Spend time with your family talking about the cross. Share stories about people you know who've taken up their crosses without sadness or self-pity. Those who care lovingly and patiently for sick relatives, who make sacrifices to provide for the needs of disabled children, who forgive those who have injured them, and so on. Each of these people are demonstrations of faithfulness to God and the manner of Jesus Christ. God bless you. See you at Mass.